Get this black bitch out of my AP class. Brandon Hartwell grabs Madison Cooper by her hair and slams her face into the locker. The metal door dents from the impact. Blood explodes from her nose, spattering the white hallway tiles. He throws her down hard. Her research binder flies open, scattering 3 months of AP history work across the floor. Before she can move, Brandon's foot crushes her hand against the ground. Bones crack under his weight. Madison screams. He kicks her ribs. "You don't deserve to be here, scholarship trash." His friends film it all, laughing. 40 students circle them with phones raised. A teacher glances over, then keeps walking. Nobody intervenes. They just watch a 15-year-old girl get beaten unconscious while recording it for their Instagram stories. What would you do if this happened to you, and nobody helped? Monday, 2:48 p.m. 13 minutes until parent pickup. Madison stays on the floor for 30 seconds. Her hand throbs, her ribs scream. Blood drips from her nose onto white marble tiles. She pushes herself up slowly. The crowd backs away. She kneels and starts gathering papers with shaking hands. AP history research, civil rights movement timelines. 3 months of work now stained red. Nobody helps. Westbridge Academy charges $45,000 per year. The hallway smells like privilege and cruelty. Marble floors, oak walls, a bronze plaque by the entrance. Excellence through tradition since 1887. Madison is the only black student in advanced placement, full scholarship. Her locker was spray-painted last month. Diversity hire in red letters. 2 weeks ago, someone carved affirmative action bitch into the metal. She reported both times. Vice Principal Thornton said she was being too sensitive. Her phone buzzes, a text from Dad. "Picking you up today. Flight landed early. 3 o'clock sharp." She types back with her good hand. "Can't wait." Around her, students whisper and film. Someone starts a TikTok live stream. The viewer count climbs fast. "She's still here? Why doesn't she just transfer? Probably faking for attention." Madison keeps collecting papers. Her hands steady now. She knows something they don't. In 13 minutes, everything changes. She stacks the blood-stained pages carefully, one sheet at a time. Her essay on systemic racism sits on top. The title is still readable. When Institutions Fail, a Case Study. She checks her watch. Black tactical band, digital face. Her father gave it to her last birthday. 12 minutes left. She picks up the last page, smooths it flat, adds it to the stack. Her movements are methodical, calm, like she's done this before, like she's prepared for exactly this moment. Because she has been. Brandon comes back with 5 friends, sons of power. Brandon's father owns 3 hospitals. Tyler Chen's mother is a state senator. Dylan Webb's dad runs a tech company worth $200 million. Jake Morrison's family donated the new science wing. Liam Rodriguez's grandfather sits on the school board. These boys have never been told no. "She's still here?" Brandon announces. "Thought trash took itself out." They form a wall around Madison. She stands now, holding her damaged binder. Blood drips onto the cover. Tyler steps forward. "How did you even get into AP? Your test scores must be garbage." "Affirmative action," Dylan says. "Lowering standards for everyone. My dad says students like her ruin Westbridge's reputation." Jake lifts his phone. "Let me get this on video." He frames the shot. Madison in center, blood on her face, boys surrounding her. "When the diversity hire thinks she belongs," Jake says into camera. He posts it immediately. Likes come fast. Brandon grabs a paper from Madison's binder. He reads aloud, mocking, "Systemic racism in American education, a case study." "Of course," he shows his friends. "Always playing victim, always complaining. Maybe if you studied instead of whining." Tyler starts. "You wouldn't need special treatment," Dylan finishes. They crowd closer. Madison can smell expensive cologne. Brandon's face is inches from hers. She doesn't look away. "Move," she says quietly. "Or what?" Brandon pushes her shoulder, not hard enough to knock her down, hard enough to show dominance. "What are you going to do?" Behind them, dozens of students watch. The live stream has hundreds of viewers. A teacher walks past, glances at the crowd, keeps walking. Westbridge's unspoken rule: don't interfere with students whose parents donate 6 figures. Madison checks her watch. 10 minutes, she whispers. "What?" Brandon leans in. "Nothing." Her voice is unnaturally calm. "Just keeping time." Tyler laughs. "Keeping time for what? Your dad to come cry to the principal?" "Something like that." Madison's lips barely move. More phones come out. The crowd grows. Everyone wants footage. Everyone wants to say they were there when the scholarship girl finally broke. But Madison doesn't break. She stands perfectly still, waiting. Brandon doesn't understand. Victims don't wait. They run, they cry, they collapse. Madison just watches him, like she's studying an insect. It makes him uncomfortable. 2:51 p.m. 9 minutes. You're freaking me out. Tyler shifts his weight. Why are you so calm? Madison doesn't answer. She bends down and gathers the rest of her papers. But she's not scrambling. She's organizing, sorting by page number, straightening edges. This isn't victim behavior. I'm talking to you. Brandon kicks papers from her hands. Look at me. Madison looks up. Her eyes are completely dry. No tears, no fear, just cold patience. You're going to regret this, she says. The boys go silent. Is that a threat? Brandon starts recording. Everyone hear that? She just threatened me. His friends join in. So threatening, Dylan says. We should call security, Jake adds. Security won't help you. Madison stands with her reorganized binder. She checks her watch. 8 minutes. 8 minutes until what? Until my dad gets here. Brandon laughs. Your daddy's coming? What's he gonna do? Walk through that door. Madison points to the main entrance. Tyler snorts. And then what? Complain? Threaten to sue? He doesn't threaten. Madison's voice drops. He just acts. Cool story. Brandon crosses his arms. Your dad's probably some low-level enlisted guy who thinks his uniform matters here. He's Navy, Madison says. So? Dylan shrugs. Military rank means nothing at Westbridge. You'll see. Madison checks her watch. 7 minutes. The live stream passes 500 viewers. Someone comments, why is she so calm, though? Another, she's acting weird. A third, something's about to happen. Jake notices something on Madison's backpack, a small pin on the strap, gold trident on black background. What's that? He points. Madison shifts the bag behind her. Nothing. Brandon grabs it and spins it around. Below the trident, small letters. The only easy day was yesterday. Military nerd stuff? Brandon mocks it. Madison stays quiet. She pulls out her phone. The case has a photo. A tall black man in military dress uniform. Rows of medals cover his chest. His hand rests on young Madison's shoulder. Tyler snatches the phone. This your dad? He looks basic. What's he gonna do, yell at us? He shows the photo to the group. They laugh. Someone screenshots it. They don't notice the details, the specific medals, the gold trident matching her pin, the insignia on his shoulder. Madison's watch vibrates. A message. 5 minutes, stay visible. She types back, main hallway, east entrance. Who are you texting? Dylan reaches for her wrist. She pulls away. My father. Telling him exactly where I am. Perfect. Brandon smirks. Can't wait to meet him. Maybe he'll explain why you think you belong here. He won't explain. Madison's voice is ice. He'll demonstrate. 2:55 p.m. 5 minutes. The boys don't understand why she's smiling. It's not a big smile, just a small curve at the corner of her mouth, like she knows a secret, like she's counting down to something they can't imagine. The main entrance is 30 feet away. 5 minutes feels like forever. Madison can wait. 2:54 p.m., 6 minutes remaining. Vice Principal Richard Thornton pushes through the crowd. White male, late 50s. His family name is engraved on a plaque in the library. He doesn't ask what happened. He looks at Madison and assumes. Miss Cooper. His voice carries authority. Are you causing disruption again? Again. The word hangs there. Madison touches her bleeding nose. Again. This is the first time you've seen anything. Don't be dramatic. Thornton glances at scattered papers. Looks like you had an accident with your binder. An accident. Madison's voice is flat. Is that what we're calling assault now? Assault? Thornton's eyebrows rise. He turns to Brandon. Did you see what happened? Brandon's face becomes innocent. She tripped, sir. We tried to help, but she got aggressive. That's a lie, Madison says. Watch your tone, young lady. Thornton's voice sharpens. Brandon's father is on the hospital board. I've known this family for 20 years. The message is clear. Brandon's family matters. Madison's doesn't. Tyler steps forward. She's been hostile all day, Mr. Thornton. We're actually concerned. Hostile how? Madison can't believe this. You've been making people uncomfortable with constant discussions about race, Thornton says. Your teachers have mentioned it. This essay, for example. He picks up her blood-stained paper. Systemic racism in education. Very divisive. It's my AP history assignment. Perhaps AP classes create too much stress for you. Thornton's voice softens like he's being kind. I've been thinking you might be more comfortable in regular track. Less pressure. More appropriate to your background. Your background. Code for race. Madison's jaw tightens. My GPA is 3.9. I scored 98th percentile on placement tests. Test scores don't measure everything. Thornton waves dismissively. Social fit matters at Westbridge. You need to consider whether this environment suits you. My needs are to learn without being attacked. That's enough. Thornton's patience ends. You need to come to my office now. I'm waiting for my father. He's 4 minutes away. Your father can meet us in my office. I'll wait here. Thornton's hand moves toward her arm, not grabbing, just gesturing. But the intent is clear. A security guard appears. James Patterson, white male, retired police officer, 15 years at Westbridge. Need assistance, Mr. Thornton? Patterson's hand rests on his belt. Miss Cooper is being uncooperative. Patterson looks at Madison's bloody face, her injured hand, the papers around her. He doesn't ask if she needs medical attention. He asks, "You refusing to follow instructions?" "I'm waiting for my parent," Madison says carefully. "Which is my right. You're causing a disturbance." Around them, dozens of students film. The live stream has over 1,000 viewers. 2:56 p.m., 4 minutes, Jake's TikTok video explodes. In 5 minutes, it hits 10,000 views. The algorithm loves conflict. Comments appear faster than anyone can read. Why is she even at a school like that? Affirmative action equals sign lower standards. Feel bad for real students who earned their spots. But other voices push back. Y'all really justifying assault? She's bleeding and they're calling her the problem? This is literally hate crime on camera. The school's official Instagram gets tagged hundreds of times. Westbridge's social media manager, working from home, sees notifications. Her phone won't stop buzzing. She calls Principal Elizabeth Hayes, who's at an education conference 2 hours away. "We have a situation." Hayes pulls up the video. She watches Brandon shove Madison, watches the blood, watches Thornton arrive, and immediately blame Madison. "Oh my God." Hayes stands from the conference table. "Who's handling this?" "Thornton. Tell him to wait. Don't do anything until I get there." He's already confronting her. Hayes is already grabbing her coat. "Call him now. Tell him to back off." But the message doesn't reach Thornton in time. He doesn't check his phone. He's too focused on maintaining order, on protecting the Hartwell family, on making sure this scholarship student learns her place. Madison watches it unfold. The phones, the live stream counts climbing, the comments section becoming a war zone. She checks her watch. 3 minutes. Her father taught her something important. Documentation beats emotion. Evidence beats testimony. When you're outnumbered and outmatched, you don't fight with fists. You fight with proof. She's been recording audio on her phone since Brandon first grabbed her. Everything is saved. Thornton's words about her background, the security guard's assumption of guilt, Brandon's lies, all captured. Her phone buzzes, a text from Dad. "Parking now, walking in 2 minutes." She types back, "They're trying to remove me, Thornton plus security." His response is immediate. "Don't move, I'm coming." The live stream passes 1,500 viewers. Someone shares it to Twitter. It gets retweeted by an education activist account with 200,000 followers. Caption: "This is what systemic racism in private schools looks like." Within minutes, Westbridge Academy is trending locally. School board members start getting calls, parents asking what's happening, alumni demanding explanations. And Madison just stands there, bleeding, waiting. 2 minutes left, 2:58 p.m., 2 minutes. "Miss Cooper, I'm not asking again." Thornton's voice hardens. "You're coming to my office. I'm waiting for my father. You can wait there. I'll wait here." Thornton nods to Patterson. The security guard steps forward. His hand touches Madison's shoulder. Firm grip, not violent, but unmistakable. Madison doesn't resist, but she speaks clearly, loud enough for every phone to capture. "You're touching me without consent. You're on camera. Multiple cameras. Remove your hand." Patterson hesitates. He looks at Thornton. "She's being removed for disruption," Thornton says. "Proceed." But something shifts in the crowd. Some students look uncomfortable. A few lower their phones. One girl whispers, "Why is she so calm?" Another, "This feels wrong." The live stream comments split. They're literally assaulting her again. She asked him not to touch her. Where are the adults who actually help kids? Madison pulls out her phone. She makes one call. Speaker on. Everyone can hear. It rings once. A deep voice answers immediately. Princess, I'm walking in now. 30 seconds. The voice has weight to it. Command. The kind of voice that makes people stand straighter without thinking. Tyler laughs nervously. Ooh, Daddy's coming. So scary. But the voice continues. Are you safe? Thornton and security are trying to remove me from the hallway, Madison says. I told them I'm waiting for you. Stay exactly where you are. The voice isn't loud, but it's absolute. I'll handle it. Yes, sir. She ends the call. Thornton's face flushes red. Your father doesn't give orders in my school. You'll want to rethink that, Madison says. The main entrance is 30 feet away. Everyone hears the door alarm beep. Someone's coming in. Heavy footsteps echo in the marble hallway. Military cadence, measured, purposeful. The crowd parts instinctively. Brandon turns toward the sound. His smirk fades. The footsteps stop. Everyone turns. Vice Principal Thornton's face goes pale. In the entrance stands a man in full Navy dress uniform. Tall, broad-shouldered, ribbons cover his chest. Silver Star, Bronze Star, multiple service medals. The gold trident insignia gleams. But he's not alone. To his left, a woman in a sharp business suit carrying a leather folder. To his right, a man with credentials hanging from his neck. The letters are visible, Doe DA. The three of them stand there, silent, assessing. The man in uniform scans the hallway with tactical precision. He sees the crowd, the phones, the live stream. He sees Thornton's hand still gesturing toward Madison. He sees Patterson's grip on his daughter's shoulder. His eyes move to Madison. The blood on her face, her swollen hand, the torn papers at her feet. His expression doesn't change, but something in the air shifts. Like the moment before lightning strikes. He doesn't speak yet. He doesn't need to. Patterson's hand drops from Madison's shoulder. Thornton takes an involuntary step back. Brandon's phone slips in his sweaty palm. The live stream viewer count hits 2,000. Everyone watching, everyone waiting. Madison's father takes one step forward, then another, walking toward his daughter like he's crossing a battlefield, and everyone else is frozen. 3 p.m. Commander James Cooper stands 6'3". His Navy dress uniform is immaculate. White shirt, dark jacket, rows of ribbons across his chest tell stories most people can't read, but some can. A student in the back whispers, "That's a Silver Star." Another, "And Bronze Star with Valor." The trident on his chest catches the light. Navy SEAL. The pin Madison wears on her backpack isn't memorabilia, it's legacy. James doesn't rush. He walks at measured pace, each step deliberate. He's crossed battlefields in Fallujah and Kandahar. A prep school hallway doesn't intimidate him. The woman beside him matches his pace. Captain Sarah Martinez, Navy JAG Corps. Her uniform is equally pristine. The leather folder in her hands is thick, very thick. The third person is civilian, Dr. Raymond Torres. His DODEA credentials swing from a lanyard, Department of Defense Education Activity. He carries a tablet and his own folder. They reach Madison. James stops in front of her. His hand comes up gently to her face. He examines her bloody nose, her split lip. His jaw tightens, but his voice stays calm. "Princess, you okay?" "Yes, sir." Madison's voice cracks slightly. First sign of emotion. "I documented everything." "I know you did." Pride flashes in his eyes. He turns to face Thornton. "Vice Principal Thornton, I'm Commander James Cooper, United States Navy. This is my daughter." Thornton tries to recover his authority. "Sir, this is a school matter. We were just—" "You were assaulting my child." James's voice doesn't rise, doesn't need to. "On camera, with multiple witnesses. I wasn't—" "Your security guard had his hands on her without consent. You threatened to forcibly remove her from a public space. She's a minor who explicitly stated she was waiting for her parent." James's words are precise, legal. "Would you like to continue that sentence, or would you like to listen?" Thornton's mouth opens, closes. He looks at Patterson, who's gone pale. The students are dead silent. Phones still recording, but nobody's laughing now. The energy has completely shifted. Brandon stands frozen. Tyler won't meet anyone's eyes. Dylan has moved to the back of the group. Jake's live stream has 3,000 viewers now. The comments are flying. "Oh shit, that's a SEAL. This just got real. Those medals don't lie." James hasn't raised his voice once. He doesn't need to. His presence commands the space. Captain Martinez steps forward. Martinez's voice is crisp, professional, courtroom trained. I'm Captain Sarah Martinez, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy. I'm here in both my military capacity and as legal counsel for the Cooper family. She opens her leather folder. Inside are printed documents, photographs, timestamps, everything organized with military precision. Commander Cooper has documented 17 separate incidents of racial harassment against his daughter over the past 6 months. She pulls out a stapled report, all of which were reported to school administration, none of which received adequate response. Thornton's face drains of color. I don't know what you're talking about. October 15th. Martinez reads from the file. Madison reported her locker vandalized with spray paint reading Diversity Hire. She submitted a written complaint to your office. You filed it under pranks. She flips a page. October 29th. Madison reported being excluded from study groups and called racial slurs by 3 students. You told her she was being too sensitive. Another page. November 7th. Someone carved affirmative action bitch into her locker. She provided photos. You suggested she was damaging school property for attention. That's not, I didn't, Thornton stammers. You signed the incident reports. Martinez holds them up. Your signature, your handwriting, your dismissals. She turns to Torres. He steps forward with his tablet. Today's incident brings us to 18. Martinez's voice gets colder, which means we've crossed the threshold for federal investigation under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Dr. Torres pulls up a video on his tablet. It's Jake's TikTok, the one showing Brandon attacking Madison. Sound on. Everyone can hear the racial slur, see the assault, watch the blood. This video has been viewed over 15,000 times in the last 30 minutes, Torres says. It's currently trending on 3 social media platforms. Most importantly, it was emailed to my office at the Department of Defense Education Activity at 2:45 this afternoon. He looks at Thornton. 15 minutes before Commander Cooper arrived, he filed the formal complaint through military channels 2 months ago. My team has been conducting a quiet review of Westbridge Academy since then. The hallway is completely silent. Even the live stream comments have slowed as people process what they're hearing. Madison's father didn't just show up, he built a case for 2 months. While his daughter endured harassment, he was documenting, filing paperwork, engaging the federal government. Brandon's face is white. Your dad is what? James turns to him. His voice is quiet, dangerous. Going to make this go away? Call his lawyers? Donate to the building fund? He steps closer to Brandon, not threatening, just present. Son, your dad's lawyers don't outrank federal civil rights investigators, and his money doesn't mean anything to the Department of Defense. Brandon takes a step back. 3:05 p.m. Thornton tries one more time to regain control. Commander, I understand you're upset. I'm sure we can discuss this privately in my office. No. James's response is immediate. Privacy is what allowed this to continue. My daughter was publicly humiliated. We're addressing this publicly. Torres clears his throat. Mr. Thornton, when was the last time you reviewed Westbridge's federal funding sources? I don't handle the financial side. Then let me educate you. Torres taps his tablet. Numbers appear on screen. Westbridge Academy currently receives $2.3 million annually from the Department of Defense. The number lands like a bomb. That's 18% of your operating budget, Torres continues. This funding is designated for educating military dependents. You currently have 17 students enrolled whose parents serve in the United States Armed Forces. Thornton's eyes widen. I wasn't aware. You weren't aware that nearly 1/5 of your budget comes from DOD? Torres's voice sharpens. Or you weren't aware that funding is conditional? He swipes to another screen. Federal funding for military-dependent education requires strict compliance with anti-discrimination policies. Schools must maintain safe learning environments for all military children. They must investigate and address complaints promptly and thoroughly. Torres looks up. Madison Cooper filed complaints 17 times in 6 months. 17 documented incidents ignored by your administration. This doesn't meet the threshold for prompt and thorough. Martinez picks up the thread. My investigation revealed a pattern, not just with Madison, with all 17 military students at Westbridge. She pulls out another document. We surveyed them confidentially. 89% report feeling unwelcome or treated differently than civilian students. All 17 reported witnessing or experiencing some form of discrimination. 34 formal complaints filed in the last 18 months. 34 complaints. James repeats slowly. From 17 students. That's 2 complaints per student, and your administration dismissed every single one. Thornton looks like he might be sick. Torres delivers the final blow. As of today, Westbridge Academy is under federal review. Pending the outcome of that review, your DoD funding is frozen. If we determine systemic failure to protect military dependents, that funding will be permanently revoked. The math is simple. $2.3 million. Gone. That means faculty cuts, program eliminations, tuition increases. The school board wasn't informed of this review, Torres adds, because we wanted to see how your administration responded to incidents without outside pressure. Today's events answer that question definitively. Martinez looks at the students still filming. Let me be clear for everyone watching. This isn't about one incident. This is about institutional failure, a pattern of discrimination that the administration knew about and chose to ignore. She turns back to Thornton. You knew Madison was being harassed. You had documentation. You had photo evidence. You had witness statements, and you did nothing. Worse than nothing. You blamed her. James steps forward one more time. His voice is quiet, but everyone hears it. My daughter isn't just a Navy dependent. She's a straight-A student who scored in the 98th percentile on placement exams. She earned her spot in AP classes through merit, through hard work. His eyes move from Thornton to Brandon to the crowd. But you decided what she was worth the moment you saw her skin color. You decided she didn't belong. You decided her complaints didn't matter. He pauses. Now you'll answer to the Department of Education, the Department of Defense, your school board, and if necessary, a federal civil rights lawsuit. The hallway is frozen. Brandon has tears in his eyes. Tyler is shaking. Dylan looks like he wants to disappear. Patterson has backed away completely. Thornton can't speak. His career is over and he knows it. The live stream hits 5,000 viewers. Nobody moves. 3:45 p.m. Emergency session convened. The Westbridge Academy boardroom smells like old leather and older money. Oil paintings of founders line the walls. Men in suits from centuries past stare down with stern faces. 11 board members sit around a mahogany table. Most arrived within 30 minutes of the emergency call. Some still wear golf clothes. Others came straight from Manhattan offices. Catherine Hartwell sits near the head of the table, Brandon's mother. Plastic surgery and Pilates. Diamond earrings that cost more than most cars. Her face is tight with barely controlled rage. Principal Elizabeth Hayes stands at the front. She drove 2 hours at dangerous speeds to get here. She's still wearing her conference lanyard. Commander Cooper sits across from the board. Captain Martinez to his left. Dr. Torres to his right. And Madison sits beside her father. James insisted she be present. She has every right to hear this, he said when a board member objected. Torres connects his tablet to the projection screen. Numbers fill the wall. Current DoD funding to Westbridge Academy, $2,347,000 annually. That represents 18.3% of your operating budget. He clicks to the next slide. Federal investigation findings. 34 formal complaints of discrimination filed by military dependents over 18 months. 0 complaints resulted in disciplinary action. 0 complaints triggered policy reviews. Click. Legal exposure under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Estimated damages between $8 and $12 million if the Cooper family pursues civil litigation. Catherine Hartwell interrupts. This is extortion. Martinez doesn't look up from her notes. Mrs. Hartwell, extortion is demanding money through threats. We're informing you of legal consequences for civil rights violations. There's a difference, Torres continues. The Connecticut Human Rights Commission was notified this morning. They've opened a separate state-level investigation. That process is independent of federal review. Click. A new slide appears. Financial projections. If DoD funding is revoked, Westbridge will need to make the following cuts to maintain current operations. 8 faculty positions eliminated. 2 sports programs discontinued. The planned science lab renovation canceled. AP course offerings reduced by 30%. The board members shift uncomfortably. One clears his throat. Can we appeal the funding decision? Yes, Torres says. Appeals take 18 to 24 months, during which time the funding remains frozen. Can Westbridge operate for 2 years without this revenue? Silence. Hayes speaks for the first time. No, we cannot. We'd need to raise tuition by $6,000 per student immediately. We'd lose enrollment. It would create a downward spiral. Martinez opens her folder. Beyond finances, there's reputational damage. Today's incident has been viewed over 50,000 times across social media platforms. The hashtag Westbridge racism is trending in Connecticut and New York. She places printouts on the table, screenshots of comments, news articles already being written, think pieces about privilege and private schools. 5 families have withdrawn applications for next year's incoming class. These are families who've been Westbridge legacy admits for generations. They're choosing other schools because they've seen how this administration handles discrimination. A board member Madison doesn't recognize speaks up. What about our largest donors? Dylan, your single largest annual contributor, called my office 1 hour ago. Hayes's voice is strained. He donates $500,000 per year. He's a black entrepreneur who made his fortune in biotech. He's suspending all contributions pending resolution of this matter. Catherine Hartwell stands. This is absurd. My son is being vilified for a schoolyard incident. Your son committed assault, James says quietly. On camera, using a racial slur. That's not a schoolyard incident. That's a hate crime. He's 17 years old. My daughter is 15. James's voice doesn't rise. And she's been enduring this for 6 months while adults did nothing. James stands. The room's attention shifts to him completely. I don't want your money. His voice is calm, absolute. I want systemic change. My daughter deserves to learn without fear. Every child in this building deserves that. He nods to Martinez. She distributes printed packets to each board member. 12 pages, professionally bound, tab dividers for each section. These are our terms, James says. Non-negotiable conditions for us not to pursue federal civil rights litigation. The board members flip through the pages. Their faces grow increasingly pale. Immediate actions within 48 hours, Martinez reads aloud. 1. Vice Principal Richard Thornton resigns or is terminated. 2. Public apology issued by school administration. 3. Brandon Hartwell suspended pending formal disciplinary hearing. 4. All students who participated in today's assault face academic consequences, including removal from honors track for 1 semester. Catherine Hartwell slams her hand on the table. You cannot punish my son. Your son is on video committing assault, Martinez continues without pausing. He's fortunate we're not pressing criminal charges. Yet, she continues reading. 30-day implementations, mandatory anti-bias training for all faculty, 8 hours, external consultants, non-negotiable attendance, revised discrimination reporting system with third-party oversight, diversify hiring to achieve minimum 30% BIPOC faculty within 18 months. You currently have 7%. A board member interrupts. 30% is the demographic reality of Connecticut, Torres finishes. It's not a quota. It's a reflection of the community you claim to serve, Martinez reads on. 90-day structural changes, anonymous bias reporting application for students, monthly equity audits with discipline data disaggregated by race, zero-tolerance policy for verified incidents of discrimination. 1 strike and you're under investigation. 2 strikes and you're expelled. No exceptions for legacy families or major donors. Several board members shift uncomfortably at that last part. Scholarship fund of $100,000 annually for underrepresented students, Martinez continues. 100,000? A board member looks shocked. Dr. Williams alone donated $500,000 per year, Hayes reminds them quietly. $100,000 is 20% of what we just lost, and it's an investment in the diversity this school desperately needs. Martinez reaches the final page. Long-term accountability measures, annual external equity reviews with public reporting, no internal whitewashing, board diversity requirement of minimum 4 BIPOC members. You currently have 1. Comprehensive curriculum review to integrate racial justice education across all subjects. She closes the packet. These terms are designed to create lasting institutional change, not just public relations, not just damage control, actual transformation of how Westbridge operates. James steps forward. You have a choice. Comply fully and we don't file suit. We work with you to rebuild. We allow Westbridge to become a model for how schools can transform after crisis. His voice hardens slightly. or refuse, and we proceed with litigation. The Department of Defense pulls funding within 60 days. The Connecticut Human Rights Commission pursues state charges, and we file federal civil rights violations in district court. He pauses. Discovery alone will destroy you. Every email, every dismissed complaint, every closed-door conversation about keeping certain students out. It will all become public record. The board members look at each other. Some stare at the table. Others flip through the terms again. Catherine Hartwell stands. I vote no. This is coercion. My family will not be— Your family filmed themselves committing a hate crime, James interrupts. What happens next is your choice, but it won't be kept quiet. That option ended when your son posted to social media. 4:30 p.m. Principal Hayes calls for a vote. All in favor of accepting the terms as presented? Hands rise slowly. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. Catherine Hartwell sits with her arms crossed. One other board member, a real estate developer whose daughter is friends with Brandon, also votes no 9-2. The terms pass. Hayes turns to James. We accept. All conditions. Full compliance. Catherine Hartwell grabs her purse and storms out. The door slams behind her. Hayes continues. I want to say something. I was unaware of the extent of these complaints. That's not an excuse. It's a failure. Administrative structure allowed Thornton to handle discipline without oversight. That structure failed Madison. It failed every military student here. It failed every marginalized student who needed protection. She looks directly at Madison. I failed you. Every adult in this building failed you. That changes today. I take full responsibility. I will personally oversee implementation of every term in this agreement. You have my word. Madison nods slightly. She doesn't speak. Doesn't need to. Hayes pulls out her phone. Thornton will be notified tonight that his employment is terminated effective immediately. His office will be locked within the hour. His access to all school systems revoked. She makes a call. Security answers. Lock Vice Principal Thornton's office. Change the access codes. He's no longer employed here. Another call. This one to Catherine Hartwell's cell. Mrs. Hartwell, this is Principal Hayes. Brandon is suspended for the remainder of the semester pending a full disciplinary hearing. You'll receive official notification by email within the hour. His transcript will reflect the suspension. She hangs up without waiting for a response. Torres taps his tablet. I'll notify the Department of Defense that Westbridge is cooperating fully with federal requirements. The funding freeze will remain in place pending 90-day review. If progress is satisfactory, funding will be restored. Martinez adds, We'll want quarterly meetings to review implementation. Commander Cooper and I will attend personally. This isn't a one-time intervention. This is ongoing accountability. Hayes nods. Understood. We'll establish a timeline and benchmarks for every requirement. James stands. He extends his hand to Hayes. She shakes it. Principal Hayes, I believe you want to do the right thing. Prove it. Make Westbridge a place where every child can learn safely. I will, Hayes says. You have my word. James turns to Madison. You ready to go home, Princess? Yes, sir. They walk toward the door. Martinez and Torres follow. As they reach the hallway, Hayes calls out, Madison? Madison turns. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. You deserve better from all of us. Madison looks at her for a long moment. Then she says, Don't apologize to me. Fix it for the students who come after me. She walks out with her father. Behind them, the board members sit in stunned silence. In 48 hours, Westbridge Academy will be a different place. Whether it's better depends entirely on what happens next. Day 1, Tuesday. Vice Principal Thornton's office is dark, the nameplate removed. His 23 years at Westbridge ended with one phone call and a severance package that includes a non-disclosure agreement. He doesn't fight it. He knows what's on those videos. Brandon Hartwell doesn't return to school. His parents meet with the board. The decision is quick. Brandon will finish junior year at a private academy in Massachusetts, far from cameras, far from consequences. His public apology is posted to the school website. 3 paragraphs, clearly lawyer-written. Words like regret and poor judgment, but never racism or assault. Madison reads it once, doesn't comment. Actions matter more than words. She returns Tuesday morning. Her father drives her, walks her to the entrance, doesn't leave until she's inside. The hallway goes quiet when she enters. Some students stare, others look away. Then something unexpected happens. A girl from AP History starts clapping. Slow at first, then faster. 3 more join, then 10, then 20. Not everyone, maybe 40%. But it's something. Acknowledgement, support. Proof that not everyone sided with Brandon. Some students still glare. Whisper when she passes. Change isn't instant. But it's different. The open cruelty has retreated. Fear of consequences works. Day 2, Wednesday emergency assembly. Every student required. Principal Hayes stands at the podium. Behind her on screen, the video, Jake's TikTok, the assault, the blood, Thornton's response. Hayes doesn't hide from shame. "This is who we were," she says. "This is what we allowed. This is what happened when adults failed." She introduces Dr. Keisha Williams, Black woman, PhD in education, Westbridge's new Director of Student Equity. Dr. Williams speaks for 30 minutes, no sugarcoating. She names what happened: racism, assault, institutional failure. "Some of you are uncomfortable right now," Dr. Williams says. "Good. Discomfort means growth. Change requires confronting what we've ignored. First mandatory bias training happens that afternoon. Some students engage seriously. Others sit with arms crossed, resistant. But they're there. They're listening. It's a start." Day 3, Thursday. The anonymous reporting app goes live. Students can report bias without revealing identity. Third-party monitoring. Immediate response protocol. Within 6 hours, 23 reports filed. The floodgates open. Not just racial issues. Homophobia, anti-Semitism, sexual harassment, classism, ableism. The reports reveal scope. Westbridge wasn't just failing Madison, it was failing dozens of students. Hayes reads every report that evening. She doesn't sleep. By morning, she understands the full scale of what they've ignored. Local news covers the story. Private school faces reckoning after viral assault video. The headline spreads. Other schools watch. Some with fear, others with curiosity. Can institutions actually change? Westbridge will find out. Week 1, 2. Faculty training external consultants arrive from Teaching Tolerance, a Southern Poverty Law Center program. 8-hour workshops, mandatory attendance, no exceptions. Training covers unconscious bias, microaggressions, restorative justice, trauma-informed teaching, role-playing exercises, uncomfortable conversations, real scenarios from Westbridge's own history. 3 teachers resign rather than participate. 1 submits his letter during lunch. 2 others quit by week's end. Principal Hayes accepts their resignations immediately. If you're unwilling to learn, you shouldn't be teaching. Post-training surveys show divided responses. 78% rate it eye-opening. 15% call it unnecessary. 7% find it offensive. The 7% are watched carefully going forward. New hires replace those who left. The search prioritizes diversity. 2 Black teachers, 1 Latina, all highly qualified, all committed to equity. Week 2, 3, Curriculum Changes Curriculum Review Committee works overtime. AP History expands to include more diverse perspectives, not just during Black History Month, integrated throughout the year. English Department adds Toni Morrison, James Baldwin, Maya Angelou. Classic literature remains, but the canon expands. Students read voices reflecting America's actual diversity. Science classes address historical racism in medicine. Tuskegee experiments. Henrietta Lacks. Eugenics. How bias shaped research and harmed communities. Even math word problems change. Names become more diverse. Cultural contexts vary. Small shifts signaling who belongs. History teacher creates new unit. Documentation as resistance. Students study how marginalized groups used evidence to fight injustice. Photos from civil rights era, videos from Black Lives Matter, court documents from landmark cases, Madison guest lectures, shows her documentation methods, timestamps, screenshots, written complaints, how she built an undeniable case. Students take notes. Some look inspired, others uncomfortable. All are learning. Week 3, 4, Structural Reform Student Equity Council forms, 12 students elected by peers. Monthly meetings with administration. Real input on policy. Madison is elected as founding member, not president. She serves as secretary, takes detailed notes, ensures accountability. First council meeting addresses discipline disparities. Dr. Williams presents data. Black students disciplined at 4 times the rate of white students for identical infractions. 4 times. The numbers don't lie. Council demands policy review. Hayes agrees immediately. By month's end, new discipline matrix implemented. Clear guidelines, objective criteria, no more subjective calls that fall harder on students of color. Week 4, Physical changes, hallways transform. New murals celebrating diverse changemakers. Scientists, artists, leaders, activists. Library expands diverse voices section from one shelf to entire corner. New books arrive weekly. Faculty photos now include pronouns and languages spoken. Small details creating belonging. Safe space stickers appear on doors. Teachers who completed advanced ally training. Madison walks past a mural of Ida B. Wells. Quote underneath, "The way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them." She stops, reads it twice, thinks about documentation, evidence, truth. That's how you win. Madison didn't win with money. Her family isn't wealthy. Commander Cooper's military salary is public record. It doesn't compete with hospital CEOs or tech executives. She didn't win through social status. No family name on donor plaques. No legacy connections. She won through documentation. Every incident recorded, every complaint filed, every response documented. 6 months of evidence that couldn't be denied. Her father taught her patience is power. That systems have rules, that rules become weapons if you know how to use them. Brandon had money and status, parents who expected problems to disappear, teachers who looked away, a school that protected him. Madison had proof. The contrast is stark. Brandon at his new school, reputation following him. Social media doesn't forget. His name links to the assault video. It will follow him to college applications, job interviews. Madison remains at Westbridge, respected, not because people fear her father, because she earned it through grace under pressure. Her AP history project, the one Brandon destroyed, she rewrote, better than before, more detailed, more personal. She added a section about her own experience, highest grade in class. Teacher nominates it for state competition. It wins second place and scholarship money. 3 younger students of color join honors programs next semester. They cite Madison as inspiration. Diversity in advanced classes increases 27% within 1 year. James gives an interview to local newspaper. Reporter asks about his military service. "I've been in combat," James says. "Faced enemy fire in dangerous places. But watching my daughter face racism in a place that should nurture her was harder." He pauses. "She taught me something. The strongest weapon isn't violence, it's integrity." Madison never compromised her dignity. Not when they mocked her, not when they hurt her, not when everyone told her to be quiet. She refused. The reporter writes it down. Quote becomes headline, "Navy SEAL dad, daughter's courage surpasses combat veterans." Madison reads it, shakes her head, smiles. She's not a hero. She's a student who refused to accept injustice. Sometimes that's enough. March 2025, 6 months post-incident. The numbers tell the story. Discrimination reports. From 34 ignored complaints over 18 months to 147 reports filed and addressed in 6 months. The system is working. Students trust it now. Resolution rate. 89% of reports resolved within 2 weeks. Not perfect, but exponentially better than 0. Discipline disparity. Gap reduced from 4 times to 1.8 times. Still work to do, but progress is measurable. Real. Faculty diversity. From 7% to 19% BIPOC teachers, still working toward 30% goal. New hires continue prioritizing qualified diverse candidates. Student satisfaction. BIPOC students reporting they feel safe increased from 34% to 71%, more than doubled in 6 months. These aren't just numbers. They represent real change, real safety, real belonging. National attention follows. Education Week features Westbridge in a cover story. How private schools can transform after crisis. 3 other private schools in Connecticut request consultations. They want to implement similar programs before they face their own reckoning. The Department of Defense uses Westbridge as case study. Proactive response to civil rights complaints. Training materials for administrators at schools receiving military funding. Dr. Torres recommends DoD funding be restored. The review shows good faith effort, genuine commitment. Hayes and Dr. Williams have delivered on every promise. The funding returns, even increases slightly. Recognition of the hard work. Madison receives her college acceptance letters in April. Yale, early admission, 38% acceptance rate. She earned it. Her essay topic, How Documentation Defeats Discrimination. Admissions officers call it one of the most powerful essays they've read. Scholarship offers arrive from multiple organizations, military family foundations, civil rights groups, educational equity nonprofits. But Madison chooses to stay at Westbridge through graduation. "I want to see this through," she tells her father. "I want to make sure the changes stick." Unexpected alliances form. Some students who initially supported Brandon privately apologize to Madison. Not all, but some. One creates a documentary project for his senior thesis, What We Got Wrong at Westbridge. He interviews Madison, Dr. Williams, students from both sides. The documentary wins a regional student film award. It screens at the end-of-year assembly. Students watch themselves from 6 months ago. Some cry, others sit in uncomfortable silence. School culture slowly shifts. Calling out bias becomes socially acceptable, even expected. Students police each other now, not with cruelty, with accountability. A white student makes a racist joke in the cafeteria. 3 of his friends immediately shut it down. "That's not funny. That's not who we are anymore." The student apologizes, genuinely. He's embarrassed. Should be. Madison watches from across the cafeteria. Doesn't intervene. Doesn't need to. The system is working. Students are learning. Change is happening without her constant presence. That's the goal. Sustainable transformation, not dependent on one person. Hayes checks in with Madison weekly. "How are you? What can we improve?" Madison provides feedback. Honest, specific. Hayes implements suggestions quickly. Trust is building. Slowly, but it's there. Madison's story spreads beyond Westbridge. Education activists amplify it. Social justice organizations share it. Military family advocates cite it. The hashtag evolves. Westbridge racism becomes Westbridge reform. The narrative shifts from outrage to possibility. From "look how bad this is" to "look what's possible when institutions commit to change." Other military families come forward with similar stories, different schools, same patterns, discrimination, ignored complaints, administrative indifference. The Department of Defense launches comprehensive review of all civilian schools receiving military funding. 340 schools nationwide. Madison's complaint opened floodgates nobody knew existed. Many schools panic. Some immediately implement reforms. Others hire expensive consultants to make problems disappear on paper. But the DoD investigators know what to look for now. Thanks to Torres, thanks to the Westbridge case study, they can distinguish genuine change from public relations. Legal precedent forms. Connecticut state legislature introduces new bill. Media calls it Madison's Law, though that's not the official name. The bill requires all private schools receiving any public funding to maintain third-party bias reporting systems, publish annual equity audits, face financial penalties for ignoring discrimination complaints. Bill gains bipartisan support. Conservatives appreciate accountability. Progressives appreciate civil rights protections. It passes both chambers within 18 months of Madison's assault. Governor signs it at a public ceremony, invites Madison. She attends with her father. "This young woman's courage changed policy," the governor says. "She refused to be silent. She documented injustice. She demanded accountability. Connecticut is better because of her." Madison doesn't give a speech, doesn't want spotlight. She stands beside her father, lets the law speak for itself. James Cooper becomes advocate, testifies before Congressional Subcommittee on Military Family Education, partners with NAACP Education Justice Project, becomes voice for service members whose children face discrimination. "We ask our military members to defend everyone's freedom," he tells Congress. "The least we can do is ensure their children learn in dignity." Madison creates YouTube channel, Documenting While Black. Teaches other teens how to document discrimination legally, how to file complaints, how to build cases. Channel grows to 127,000 subscribers in 6 months. Videos include Know Your Rights at School, How to File Title VI Complaint, Building Your Evidence, When to Involve Lawyers. Comments section fills with stories. Teenagers nationwide facing similar situations. They're learning, documenting, fighting back with evidence instead of just anger. Madison responds to comments when she can, offers advice, connects students with resources, creates community. The movement grows, quietly. One documented incident at a time. One complaint properly filed. One case built with patience and proof. This is how systems change, not overnight, not with one viral video, but with sustained pressure, strategic action, refusal to accept injustice. The core message is clear. Preparation defeats prejudice. James taught Madison to document from day one, not because he expected assault, because he understood systems. He knew that complaints without evidence get dismissed, but evidence demands response. Systems over emotions. They used legal frameworks, federal regulations, Title VI protections, not just public outrage, not just social media pressure. They built a case that couldn't be ignored. Patience as power. 6 months of documentation was tedious, frustrating. Every day Madison wanted to fight back immediately. But her father taught her to wait, to build, to make the case undeniable. Timing mattered. If James had shown up without evidence, he's just an angry parent. With evidence, he's a federal complainant with standing, dignity as resistance. Madison never retaliated with Brandon's tactics, never returned cruelty for cruelty. She maintained composure, gathered papers, stayed calm. Her dignity was her weapon. Community over individualism. The reforms help everyone, not just Madison, not just military students. Every marginalized student at Westbridge benefits from the changes. The personal cost was real. Madison still has hard days. Therapy helps her process trauma. Some students still avoid her. Change makes people uncomfortable. She lost innocence about institutions. She learned that adults don't automatically protect children, that rules exist but aren't always enforced. That justice requires fighting for it. But she gained purpose, voice, proof that fighting back works when done strategically. Father-daughter relationship deepened. James says, "I taught her to stand at attention. She taught me what courage really looks like." They have weekly strategy sessions now. Sacred time. They discuss her channel, her advocacy, her college plans. Madison teaches her father about social media activism. He teaches her about long-term institutional change, mutual learning, mutual respect, final reflection. Madison's words. "Brittany thought crushing my papers would break me. Instead, it built me. Every page I picked up became evidence. Every witness who filmed became my proof. They wanted me silent. I became impossible to ignore." Madison's story isn't unique. It happens in schools, workplaces, public spaces every day. The question is, what will you do about it? Comment below. Have you or someone you know faced discrimination at school? Your voice matters. Silence protects perpetrators. Speaking up protects the next person. Know your rights. Title VI protections apply to all students in schools receiving federal funding. Document everything. Photos, videos, timestamps, witnesses, save communications. File complaints through proper channels. School boards, state education departments, Office for Civil Rights. Subscribe to Black Stories for more stories of quiet resistance and systemic change. Share this video. Let others know they're not alone. Follow Madison's advocacy work at Documenting While Black. Change doesn't start with power. It starts with one person refusing to be silent. Be that person. Your documentation today could be someone else's justice tomorrow. Stand up, speak out, document everything. 12-year-old Zira stood frozen on the brightly lit stage. The spotlight burned against her dark skin, intensifying as all eyes turned to her. She watched, unable to move, as Victor Hargrove, billionaire tech CEO, America's favorite self-made success story, tore her science fair certificate in half on live television. The sound of ripping paper cut through the shocked silence. "This," Hargrove said, his smile never wavering as he held the torn pieces for the cameras, "is what happens when we lower standards." The audience gasped. Somewhere, a woman whispered, "Oh my God." The judges shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Nobody stopped him. Tears threatened to spill from Zira's eyes, but she held them back. Her hands, small and steady despite everything, curled into fists at her sides. On national television, in front of millions, Victor Hargrove had just called her a fraud. What Victor Hargrove didn't know? He'd just declared war on the wrong child. The fluorescent lights of Martin Luther King Jr. Middle School buzzed overhead as Zira hunched over her math test. She'd finished 15 minutes early. Again. Her pencil tapped silently against the desk as she watched other students struggle with problems she'd solved in seconds. "Time's up," Ms. Winters announced. "Pencils down." As papers passed forward, Ms. Winters caught Zira's eye. "Zira, see me after class." When the room emptied, Ms. Winters flipped through Zira's test. "Perfect score again," she sighed. You know, there are special programs for students who need extra help. But I don't need help, Zira said. I need harder problems. That's not what I meant. Your situation. Ms. Winters glanced at Zira's worn backpack, the shoes held together with duct tape. Perhaps expectations should be adjusted. You mean lowered, Zira corrected flatly. Not the first time she'd heard this. Outside, Nate from Advanced Science waited. You should be in our class, he whispered. Everyone knows it. Mr. Phillips says STEM isn't really my path. Zira mimicked her counselor's voice. That's bull, Nate said. You're smarter than all of us. Zira shrugged. Tell that to Phillips. Her Baltimore neighborhood welcomed her home with familiar scenes. Mrs. Jenkins watering her struggling garden, the Jackson twins racing bikes through potholes, the corner store where Mr. Chen extended credit when money ran thin. Inside their apartment, silence. Grandma May wouldn't be home until after her second shift ended at midnight. The soft whirring of Zira's prototype device greeted her, the only sound in their quiet home. She pulled it from her backpack carefully. The neural network device was small but powerful, built from salvaged parts and coded with algorithms she'd taught herself from library books. She'd named it Haley, Health Artificial Learning Intelligence Engine, and programmed it with her grandmother's no-nonsense personality. Hello, Haley, she whispered, powering it up. Good afternoon, Zira, Haley responded. Your grandmother's heart rate was elevated at 642 this morning. Recommend increased fluid intake. Zira nodded. Her grandmother's heart condition had inspired Haley's creation, a system that could predict health emergencies before they happened. If she'd had this when her mother collapsed 3 years ago. The refrigerator held a note scrawled in her grandmother's handwriting. Leftovers inside. Take your vitamins. Love you, baby girl. Zira swallowed the pill and packed her backpack. The public library closed at 9, 4 precious hours to code. At the Jefferson Public Library, she claimed her usual back corner terminal. Ms. Diallo, the West African librarian, nodded in recognition. The advanced programming books you requested arrived, she said, sliding 3 heavy volumes across the counter. Thank you, Zira whispered, eyes bright. Hours passed as Zira disappeared into lines of code, teaching her creation to think, to learn, to predict. On screen, neural pathways connected and evolved. Haley was growing smarter every day. Her phone buzzed. A text from Grandma. On break, did you eat? Yes, Zira typed back. She hadn't, but Grandma worried enough. The Young Innovators Science Fair application sat half-completed on the desk beside her. Grand prize, $50,000 and a mentorship at Hargrove Technologies. They needed that money. The eviction notice had appeared last week, their 3rd this year. The library closed. Walking home, Zira clutched her device, mind racing with possibilities. The science fair was her chance, a real shot at changing everything. No more double shifts for Grandma. No more counselors steering her toward appropriate careers. No more pretending to be less than she was. The next morning, Zira showed her grandmother the colorful diagrams of Haley's neural networks. Look at this beautiful art you've made, Grandma May said, proudly pinning it to the refrigerator alongside bill notices. My girl's so talented. Zira didn't correct her. She wouldn't understand anyway. Nobody did. The science fair was supposed to change everything, until Victor Hargrove changed the rules. 3 weeks before the disaster, Zira had trembled with excitement as she submitted her application to the Young Innovators Science Fair. National television coverage, real scientists as judges, and Victor Hargrove himself, founder of Hargrove Technologies, the man revolutionizing healthcare with artificial intelligence. The acceptance letter arrived on a Tuesday. Grandma May had cried, holding Zira so tight she could barely breathe. They see you, her grandmother had whispered. They finally see you. The convention center buzzed with activity. Bright displays lined the massive hall. volcano models, robot arms, renewable energy contraptions. Amidst it all, Zira stood beside her small table, Haley's compact form displayed on a black cloth. "Nervous?" asked the boy next to her, his hydroponic system bubbling and whirring. Zira nodded, watching Victor Hargrove move through the room, camera crew trailing behind him. He was taller in person, his tailored suit worth more than their apartment building. "Don't be," the boy said. "It's just for show. They already know who's winning." "Who?" He nodded toward a sleek display where a blonde girl demonstrated her project to smiling parents. "Senator Coleman's daughter. Politics, you know." Zira's stomach tightened. But no, her project was better. Haley was special. They would see that. When Hargrove reached her table, Zira stood tall. "Hello, Mr. Hargrove. I'm Zira Williams." His eyes barely flicked over her display. "And what do we have here?" "Haley is an artificial intelligence that predicts medical emergencies before they happen," she explained, words rushing out. "It monitors subtle changes in vital signs and behavior patterns to—" "You built a predictive healthcare AI?" Hargrove interrupted, eyebrow raised. The cameras moved closer. "Yes, sir. It's already 87% accurate in— And where did you get the code for this?" His tone shifted, suddenly sharp. "I wrote it myself. I taught myself Python and TensorFlow using library books and—" Hargrove laughed, the sound cutting through her explanation. "That's quite impossible." He turned to the cameras. "Young lady, this level of algorithmic sophistication is beyond PhD candidates, let alone—" He gestured vaguely at her second-hand clothes, at her entire existence. "I can demonstrate," Zira insisted, reaching for Haley. "I have test cases and—" "I've seen enough." Hargrove lifted her project certificate, the one declaring her a finalist. "This competition is about honesty and originality. We cannot reward plagiarism." And then, before millions of viewers, he tore the certificate in half. "This," he said, his smile never wavering, "is what happens when we lower standards." The ripping sound echoed in Zira's ears. A sharp paper cut sliced her finger as she reached for the falling pieces. A thin line of blood formed, bright red against her dark skin. The judges said nothing. The other contestants stared. Cameras captured every second of her humiliation. "We'll find the real inventor," Hargrove promised the audience with a wink. As the cameras clicked and flashed, something crystallized in Zira's mind. She wouldn't just prove him wrong. She would make him admit it to the world. "He called you a liar on national television," Amara Jones said, recorder in hand. The young reporter had cornered Zira outside school the day after the science fair. "Do you have a response?" Zira brushed past her. "No comment?" "People are talking about this, Zira. The video has 2 million views already." 2 million people had watched her humiliation. Fantastic. "The public deserves to hear your side," Amara persisted, following her down the sidewalk. "The public doesn't care about my side," Zira snapped. "They got their show. Poor black girl put in her place. Story over." Amara stopped walking. "That's not the story I want to tell." Zira paused, studying the woman's face for the first time. "What story do you want?" "The true one." Amara handed her a business card. "When you're ready." At the library that afternoon, Zira slumped at her usual computer, the bitter taste of energy drink coating her tongue as she fought to stay awake. She'd been up all night, researching Victor Hargrove, searching for something. "You look terrible," Ms. Diallo said, approaching with a sandwich. "Eat." "Not hungry," Zira mumbled, eyes fixed on the screen. "Eat anyway." Ms. Diallo's tone left no room for argument. She glanced at Zira's screen. "Hargrove Technologies' new healthcare initiative?" Zira nodded, taking a reluctant bite. "They're launching next month, revolutionizing healthcare through AI prediction. Sound familiar?" Ms. Diallo's eyes narrowed. "Suspiciously so." They stole my idea, Zira whispered. But I can't prove it. Yet, Ms. Diallo corrected. She hesitated, then said, There's something you should see. She typed rapidly, bypassing the library's security protocols with practiced ease. Research databases appeared, the kind that required university credentials. You're not just a librarian, Zira realized. Ms. Diallo smiled slightly. I have a PhD in computational neuroscience from MIT. Immigration doesn't always honor foreign credentials. Why are you helping me? Because talent deserves recognition, regardless of packaging. She pointed to the screen. Now let's see what Hargrove is really building. Hours later, Zira's head spun with new information. Hargrove's healthcare AI, marketed as revolutionary, contained a fundamental flaw. It maximized profits by selectively denying care, using algorithms that disproportionately affected low-income and minority patients. They've built bias into the system, Ms. Diallo explained. Zip codes, historical data, even names become proxies for race and class. And nobody notices? The right people notice. They call it efficiency. That night, working at her small desk while Grandma May slept, Zira made a discovery that stopped her breath. Buried in Hargrove's technical specifications, part of a leaked document Ms. Diallo had accessed, was code almost identical to Haley's core algorithm. They hadn't just stolen her idea, they'd stolen her actual work. But how? Her project submission had included technical details. Someone on the selection committee must have passed it along. Zira's hands trembled as she pulled up information on the National Young Innovators Competition, a more prestigious event where Hargrove would present his company's new healthcare system as head judge. Perfect, she whispered. The application process was rigorous, requiring academic references and parent signatures. Impossible obstacles, or they would have been, before Victor Hargrove made this personal. 2 forged recommendation letters and 1 digitally signed parental consent form later, Zira Williams became Zara Wilson, coding prodigy from a private STEM academy in Virginia. The acceptance email arrived the same day as the eviction notice. Now she had 2 weeks to change both their futures. Late on rent again? Grandma May sighed, holding the ominous letter. I'll pick up an extra shift. No, Zira said firmly. I have a plan. Her grandmother looked skeptical. What kind of plan pays 3 months back rent? A winning one, Zira promised. I just need you to trust me. While her grandmother worked double shifts, Zira transformed Haley. The device needed to do more than predict. It needed to expose. She added modules to analyze Hargrove's algorithm, identify its biases, and demonstrate its flaws. Ms. Diallo provided crucial help, sharing research papers and technical knowledge beyond library books. One afternoon, she introduced Zira to Dr. Eliana Wright via video call. Dr. Wright worked for Hargrove until last year, Ms. Diallo explained. The woman on screen nodded grimly. I was fired after questioning their algorithmic ethics. The healthcare AI they're launching. It's designed to deny care while appearing objective. Can you prove it? Zira asked. I have documentation, Dr. Wright confirmed, but no platform. Hargrove's legal team is formidable. I might have a platform, Zira said slowly. A live-streamed event with Hargrove himself present. Dr. Wright's eyes widened. The Young Innovators Competition? Zira nodded. I'm a finalist. Impossible. Hargrove would never... He doesn't know who I really am. Yet. Understanding dawned on Dr. Wright's face. You're the girl from the science fair. The one he humiliated. Yes, Zira said. And I'm about to return the favor. The hospital corridor smelled of antiseptic and fear. Zira sat rigid in the uncomfortable waiting room chair, her school books untouched beside her. Through the window of room 412, she could see Grandma May connected to monitors, their rhythmic beeping creating an urgent countdown in Zira's mind. Stress-induced cardiac event, the doctor had explained, words gentle but firm. She needs rest, medication, and an invasive procedure we recommend performing next week. Our insurance, Zira had begun, has denied coverage for the procedure, the doctor finished, frustration evident. The new automated system flagged it as non-essential. I've appealed, but decisions made by algorithms rarely changed, especially Hargrove's algorithms. The laptop balanced on Zira's knees displayed Hargrove Healthcare Initiative's denial letter. The language was clinical, impersonal, and buried in technical jargon was the truth. Treatment denied based on a comprehensive risk-benefit analysis. Translation, not worth the investment. Zira's phone buzzed with a text from Ms. Diallo. Found something. Come when you can. Can't leave, Grandma, she typed back. This can't wait. Trust me. At the library, Ms. Diallo locked the door to the small conference room. Hargrove's system isn't just biased, she said, voice tight. It's deliberately discriminatory. She projected documents onto the wall, internal memos, technical specifications, testing data. These decision trees. Zira studied the algorithms, understanding dawning. They're designed to filter out specific neighborhoods. Yes, and they stole your predictive code to do it more efficiently. Ms. Diallo's face hardened. Your algorithm was meant to save lives. They're using it to decide whose lives are worth saving. How did you get these documents? Ms. Diallo hesitated. Dr. Wright has contacts inside Hargrove Technologies. This is enough to expose them, Zira said. Not quite. We need proof that the system actively discriminates, not just statistical patterns that suggest it. I can prove it, Zira said. Haley can run simulations showing exactly how their decisions play out across demographics. Then we need to accelerate our timeline. The competition is in 12 days. Zira's phone buzzed, a hospital notification. Grandma's awake, I have to go. There's something else, Ms. Diallo said. I need to tell you why this matters so much to me. Later, Zira promised, already halfway out the door. She was crossing the hospital lobby when a familiar voice stopped her. Zira Williams? Amara Jones, press badge dangling from her neck, approached with purpose. Not now, Zira said, moving toward the elevators. I know what you're planning, Amara said quietly. The Young Innovators competition. Except you're registered as Zara Wilson. Zira froze. How did you? I'm a reporter. I follow leads. Amara's expression softened. And I follow stories about injustice. Are you going to expose me? That depends. What's your end game here? The elevator arrived. Zira stepped inside, Amara following. Hargrove stole my algorithm. He's using it to deny health care to people like my grandmother. I'm going to prove it. On stage? In front of cameras? Yes. Amara studied her. That's either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. It's necessary, Zira corrected. The elevator stopped. Amara handed Zira her card again. Call me before you do anything. A story like this needs proper coverage. Are you threatening me? I'm offering you amplification. There's a difference. In Grandma May's room, the monitors continued their relentless beeping. Her grandmother's eyes fluttered open. There's my girl, she whispered, voice weak. How are you feeling? Zira took her hand gently. Like I've been hit by a truck. She attempted a smile. The doctor says I need some fancy procedure. We'll figure it out, Zira promised. Insurance already said no. We can't afford it out of pocket. Don't worry about that now, just rest. After Grandma May drifted back to sleep, Zira worked from the hospital chair. Haley balanced on her lap. The device was learning, analyzing thousands of healthcare decisions, identifying patterns of discrimination. Her phone buzzed with a new email, competition logistics. All minor participants required accompanying guardians. Impossible. Grandma May couldn't leave the hospital, and she had no other family. Another buzz. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Your registration has raised flags. YIC security team. Panic seized her chest. They knew. Somehow they'd discovered her real identity. A third notification. An email from Victor Hargrove's executive assistant requesting a pre-competition interview with Zara Wilson about her groundbreaking healthcare application. They were watching her, waiting to catch her. Or worse, planning to steal her improved algorithm too. With 12 days until the competition and her identity about to be exposed, Zara made the most dangerous decision of her life. She would hack Victor Hargrove's own system. Absolutely not, Amara said, pacing the hospital's empty cafeteria. Hacking Hargrove Technologies is a federal crime. So is stealing my intellectual property, Zara countered. So is using algorithms to deny healthcare based on race and class. One is easier to prosecute. Amara stopped pacing. There are better ways to expose them. Name one that works in 12 days. Amara sat across from Zara, lowering her voice. You have evidence they stole your algorithm? Yes. And evidence their system discriminates? Haley is running the simulations now. Amara tapped her fingers against the table. I have editorial independence at the Baltimore Tribune. We could publish an exposé. Which Hargrove's lawyers would bury before the ink dried, Zara said. We need something public, something they can't deny. The competition. Amara nodded slowly. But you need a guardian present and security's already flagging your registration. That's why I need your help, Zara said. Not to hack them, to get me into that competition. The squeak of Zara's sneakers echoed against the polished marble floor of the Baltimore Medical Research Center. Each step matched her racing heartbeat as she followed Dr. Wright through sterile hallways. Miss Diallo vouches for you, Dr. Wright said, swiping her keycard at a secured door. That carries significant weight with me. Inside the lab, screens displayed complex neural networks, similar to Haley's but more elaborate. This is what Hargrove's healthcare system is really built on, Dr. Wright explained. Predictive analytics that identify high-cost patients for early intervention or early rejection. Intervention meaning denial of coverage, recommendations against expensive procedures, reduced medication options. Dr. Wright pulled up patient data. These algorithms don't just predict health outcomes, they enforce them. And they're using my code to do it. Zara's voice hardened. I need to get into that competition. The guardian requirement and security flags are significant obstacles, Dr. Wright noted. I might have a solution for both, Amara interjected, entering the lab. Dr. Wright, your research on algorithmic bias is groundbreaking. The Tribune would love to profile you, with your on-the-record critique of Hargrove's system. Dr. Wright stiffened. My non-disclosure agreement only covers proprietary technology, not ethical concerns, Amara finished. I've reviewed it. And the guardian issue? Zara asked. Amara smiled. Meet your new temporary guardian. She handed Zara doctored guardianship papers with Ms. Diallo's name. Legal in appearance, if not in fact. This is... Doctor, Wright began. Necessary, Zara and Amara said simultaneously. Back at the library, Ms. Diallo examined the guardianship documents. These are convincing forgeries. Where did you get them? Better you don't know, Amara said. Will you do it? Ms. Diallo's expression grew distant. When my daughter was 16, she developed an unusual heart condition. Hargrove's early healthcare algorithm, the precursor to their current system, deemed her treatment experimental. Insurance denied coverage. What happened? Zara asked softly. We couldn't afford the procedure. Ms. Diallo's voice was steady, but her hands trembled. She died 3 months later. The room fell silent. I'm so sorry, Zara whispered. Victor Hargrove didn't pull the trigger, Ms. Diallo said. but his algorithm decided my daughter's life wasn't worth saving. She straightened her shoulders. So yes, I will be your guardian at this competition. Working through the night, Zira enhanced Haley's capabilities. The device now contained irrefutable evidence of Hargrove's theft and discrimination, and something more. A back door into Hargrove's presentation system. "You're sure this will work?" Dr. Wright asked, reviewing the code. "Hargrove's team is arrogant," Zira explained. "Their security focuses on external threats. They never expect the enemy to be on stage with them." "And if they catch you?" "Then at least we tried." As competition day approached, their plan crystallized. Amara would provide press coverage. Dr. Wright would supply expert testimony. Ms. Diallo would accompany Zira as her guardian. And Haley would deliver the evidence. The night before the competition, Zira visited Grandma May, who was improving but still confined to her hospital bed. "Where are you going tomorrow that's so important?" her grandmother asked suspiciously. "A special program at the library," Zira lied. "Ms. Diallo is taking me." "You're up to something," Grandma May said. "I can see it in your eyes." "I'm fixing a mistake," Zira said truthfully. Her grandmother studied her face. "Just be careful, baby. The world isn't always kind to girls who know their worth." "I know," Zira whispered. "That's why I have to change it." The Young Innovators competition buzzed with excitement. Corporate sponsors, media outlets, and tech industry elite filled the auditorium. Security was tight. Zira's backpack underwent 2 separate searches, though Haley's true capabilities remained hidden beneath its innocent exterior. "Nervous?" Ms. Diallo asked as they found their seats. "Terrified," Zira admitted. "Good. Fear keeps you sharp." Victor Hargrove took the stage to thunderous applause, his charisma filling the room. Cameras followed his every move as he welcomed participants and judges. "Today represents the future," he announced. "Young minds pushing boundaries, creating solutions we never imagined." The irony wasn't lost on Zira. As Hargrove spoke, Zira activated Haley remotely. The device connected to the venue's network, finding pathways into the presentation system. Within seconds, Hargrove's teleprompter script had been quietly archived and replaced. "Contestant 12, Zara Wilson," the announcer called eventually. Zira approached the stage, Haley clutched in her hands. As she passed Hargrove, recognition flickered in his eyes, quickly masked by confusion. He knew her face but couldn't place it. Not yet. As Zira took the stage, smiling at the cameras, he had no idea the algorithm running the teleprompter now belonged to a 12-year-old girl sitting in the back row. "Zara Wilson from Oakwood STEM Academy," the announcer's voice boomed across the auditorium. "Presenting predictive healthcare analytics for equitable outcomes." Zira stepped into the spotlight. Haley clutched in her hands. The cool weight of the device hummed with vindication. 300 audience members, 5 judges, and 1 Victor Hargrove watched as she positioned her creation on the display table. "Thank you for this opportunity," she began, voice steady despite the hammering in her chest. "My project addresses a critical issue in healthcare AI, algorithmic bias." In the front row, Hargrove's posture stiffened. His eyes narrowed, studying her face more carefully. "Machine learning systems reflect the biases of their creators," Zira continued. "When these systems determine who receives healthcare, bias becomes deadly." Recognition dawned in Hargrove's eyes. He leaned forward, whispering urgently to an assistant. Security guards at the entrance straightened. Too late. "My system, Haley, identifies and corrects discriminatory patterns in healthcare algorithms," Zira explained, activating the device. "To demonstrate, I've analyzed a prominent healthcare prediction model currently being implemented nationwide." The massive screen behind her illuminated with data visualizations, decision trees, risk assessments, patient outcomes, all sourced directly from Hargrove's system. "This is proprietary information," Hargrove interrupted, standing. "Security." "Is it proprietary?" Zira asked innocently. "Or is it stolen?" The audience murmured. Cameras swiveled between them. "I have 5 test cases," Zira continued as security approached. Identical patients with only one variable changed, their zip code. The screen displayed patient profiles, identical medical histories, different addresses. Haley, run simulation, Zira commanded. The device processed rapidly, results appearing on screen. 5 identical medical conditions, 5 wildly different treatment recommendations. As you can see, Zira pointed to the data, patients from lower-income neighborhoods receive dramatically different care recommendations despite identical medical needs. This presentation is unauthorized, Hargrove snapped, now on stage beside her. This child has no understanding of complex healthcare analytics. Actually, Zira replied, I understand them well enough to have created the core algorithm your system uses. She tapped Haley again. New information appeared, side-by-side code comparisons. Her original work submitted to the science fair alongside Hargrove's proprietary algorithm. Identical, she said, because you stole it. The audience gasped. Cameras zoomed in on the evidence. Ridiculous, Hargrove scoffed. This is a publicity stunt. Is it? Zira pressed a button on Haley. Perhaps you should check your teleprompter for your prepared response. Hargrove turned to the teleprompter, preparing to dismiss her claims. His face paled as he read the words now scrolling across the screen. We at Hargrove Technologies acknowledge the unauthorized acquisition of intellectual property from underprivileged innovators, including algorithm HLX7 developed by Zira Williams, age 12, from Baltimore. He stopped reading, horrified, but the damage was done. The first rows had seen the teleprompter text. Phones were raised, recording. You're Zira Williams, he realized aloud. From the science fair. Yes, she confirmed. The girl whose certificate you tore up on national television. The fraud you accused of plagiarism, while you were actively stealing my work. Security reached the stage but hesitated, unsure how to proceed with cameras rolling. This demonstration is over, Hargrove announced, reaching for Haley. Don't touch that, Zira warned. Unless you want your entire system to crash. It was a bluff, but Hargrove flinched. Haley, continue demonstration, Zira commanded. The device projected new data, internal memos from Hargrove Technologies discussing efficiency algorithms and cost containment strategies. These documents show deliberate programming of bias, Zira explained. Patients from certain zip codes, primarily minority and low-income neighborhoods, automatically receive lower priority scores. You've illegally accessed confidential information, Hargrove sputtered. This is corporate espionage. No, a new voice interrupted. Dr. Eliana Wright strode down the center aisle. It's whistleblowing. She reached the stage, professional and commanding in her lab coat. I'm Dr. Eliana Wright, former Chief Ethics Officer at Hargrove Technologies. I can confirm these documents are authentic. The audience buzzed with excitement. This had become far more than a student competition. Dr. Wright was fired after raising ethical concerns about this exact issue, Zira explained. The evidence she collected proves both the theft of my algorithm and its weaponization against vulnerable populations. Including my grandmother, Zira added, voice cracking slightly, who was denied a life-saving procedure last week because your algorithm decided people from our zip code aren't worth saving. Hargrove attempted to regain control. These are complex systems that balance resources. They're discriminatory systems that prioritize profit over people, Dr. Wright interrupted. And they're built on stolen innovation. Hargrove lunged for the power cord connecting Haley to the presentation system. This ends now. Actually, Zira smiled, it's just beginning. As Hargrove pulled the plug, every screen in the auditorium, the main display, judges' tablets, even the digital signage in the lobby, simultaneously lit up with the same evidence. Backup systems activated by Amara, who was live-streaming the entire confrontation. You can't silence the truth by unplugging it, Zira said. Hargrove attempted to leave the stage, but found himself stuck in place. His expensive shoes adhered firmly to the floor, trapped by Zira's homemade quick-drying adhesive strategically placed before her presentation. The audience erupted in laughter as the mighty CEO tugged helplessly at his feet. "What is this?" he demanded, face reddening. "A simple adhesive compound," Zira explained innocently. "I developed it in my kitchen. Would you like to steal that too?" More laughter, more cameras. Hargrove's public humiliation broadcast in real time across social media platforms. "You've made a serious mistake," he threatened quietly. "My legal team will..." "Will what?" Amara Jones appeared beside Dr. Wright, press badge displayed prominently. "Sue a 12-year-old for exposing corporate theft and discrimination? That's tomorrow's headline you're writing, Mr. Hargrove." "Who are you?" he demanded. "Amara Jones, Baltimore Tribune. We're running a special investigation on algorithmic discrimination in healthcare, featuring Dr. Wright's testimony and Ms. Williams' evidence." She smiled professionally. "Care to comment?" As security finally extracted Hargrove's shoes from the floor, leaving him in sock feet, the competition judges huddled in urgent discussion. The head judge approached the microphone. "In light of these unprecedented circumstances, we're suspending today's competition pending further investigation." "That's unnecessary," Zira said, still holding Haley. "I didn't come here to win your competition. I came here for justice." She turned to face the audience directly. "This device was created to save lives, all lives, regardless of zip code or income or race. That's the innovation we should be celebrating." The auditorium erupted in applause, tentative at first, then building to a thunderous standing ovation. The studio fell silent as Victor Hargrove, for the first time in his life, found himself without words, while a 12-year-old girl from Baltimore had just given the world millions of them. Hargrove Technologies plummets 28% following ethics scandal, screamed the financial headlines 3 days later. Zira spread the newspaper across the small table in Grandma May's hospital room, watching her grandmother's eyes widen. "This is what you were up to?" Grandma May whispered, fingers tracing the front-page photo of Zira on stage. "When you said you were fixing a mistake." "I couldn't tell you," Zira explained. "You would have worried." "Worried?" Her grandmother's voice rose. "Girl, I'm terrified. You took on a billionaire with more lawyers than we have plates." "But we won," Zira said simply. "Did we?" Grandma May gestured at their surroundings. The hospital room they couldn't afford, the monitors still beeping, the denied procedure still unscheduled. A soft knock interrupted them. Amara Jones entered, digital tablet in hand. "Good morning, Ms. Williams," she greeted Grandma May. "I'm Amara, a friend of your extraordinary granddaughter." "The reporter," Grandma May acknowledged cautiously. "Yes, ma'am, and I bring news." Amara handed over the tablet, displaying an email from the hospital administration. "Your procedure has been approved, fully covered." "How?" Grandma May breathed. "Public pressure works wonders," Amara explained. "After our story broke, the insurance company suddenly discovered an algorithmic error in their system." Tears filled Grandma May's eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "Don't thank me," Amara nodded toward Zira. "Thank your granddaughter. She's changed more than just your case." Outside the hospital, chaos reigned. Hargrove Technologies faced multiple investigations: ethical, financial, legal. Former employees came forward with corroborating evidence of discriminatory practices and intellectual property theft. Class action lawsuits formed overnight. In the eye of this storm, Zira found unexpected calm. The truth was out. The work was done. Now came the aftermath. "You're trending again," Ms. Diallo noted, showing Zira her phone during their daily library session. The hashtag #ZiraWasRight dominated social media, accompanied by stories of algorithmic discrimination from across the country. "It's bigger than me now," Zira observed. "It always was," Ms. Diallo replied. "You just gave it a face and a voice." The hospital corridor smelled different today. Less fear, more possibility. The faint scent of her grandmother's lavender hand cream wafted through the air as Zira entered room 412, clutching an official envelope. "What's that?" Grandma May asked, sitting up in bed. Her color was better, her voice stronger. The procedure was scheduled for tomorrow. "An acceptance letter," Zira said, placing it in her grandmother's hands. "For real this time." The Young Innovators competition judges had reconvened. Despite the scandal, or perhaps because of it, they had awarded Zira first place. The letter came with a scholarship offer to the National Science Academy and a check large enough to cover their overdue rent, and then some. "Baby girl," Grandma May whispered, pride shining through tears. Their moment was interrupted by a commotion in the hallway. Security personnel filed past the door, followed by a parade of suits and cameras. "What now?" Grandma May sighed. Amara appeared in the doorway, slightly out of breath. "He's here," she announced. "Who?" "Hargrove. He's holding a press conference in the main lobby." Zira froze. "About me?" "About everything. Come on, you'll want to see this." From the second-floor balcony overlooking the lobby, they watched as Victor Hargrove, noticeably less polished than his television appearances, approached a forest of microphones. His lawyer stood beside him, face grim. "I come before you today," Hargrove began, voice lacking its usual confidence, "to address the allegations regarding Hargrove Technologies' healthcare algorithm." He cleared his throat, eyes darting to his lawyer, who nodded slightly. "Following an internal investigation, we have confirmed that our system contained problematic decision metrics that may have resulted in disparate outcomes for certain communities." The carefully worded non-apology hung in the air. "Furthermore," he continued reluctantly, "we acknowledge that elements of our core algorithm bear significant similarities to work developed independently by Zira Williams." A reporter shouted, "Are you admitting you stole a child's invention?" Hargrove's jaw tightened. "We are admitting to inadequate oversight in our acquisition processes." Another voice. "Will you apologize to Zira Williams directly?" The lobby fell silent. Cameras panned, searching for her. Someone pointed toward the balcony. Suddenly, all eyes turned upward. Zira stood perfectly still as Hargrove looked up, their eyes meeting across the distance. For a brief moment, power shifted, the billionaire looking up at the child he had dismissed. "Ms. Williams," he said stiffly, "I offer my sincere apologies for the way you were treated at the science fair and for any misappropriation of your intellectual contributions." The words were clearly painful for him, extracted by lawyers and public pressure rather than genuine remorse. "Apology accepted," Zira replied, voice carrying through the hushed lobby. "But I'm more interested in what happens next. We're establishing a review board to examine all algorithmic decisions," Hargrove offered, "and creating a youth innovation fund for underrepresented communities." "And my grandmother's procedure?" Zira pressed. "And everyone else denied care by your algorithm?" Hargrove's lawyer whispered in his ear before he responded. "All cases flagged by the system are being reviewed. Treatment decisions will be reassessed." It wasn't everything, but it was a start. As cameras flashed around her, Zira realized the hardest challenge still lay ahead, deciding what to do with a power that could change the world, not just embarrass those who ruled it. 6 months passed like a blur. Spring bloomed across Baltimore, bringing cherry blossoms and new beginnings. Zira adjusted her graduation cap in the bathroom mirror of their new apartment. Not a mansion, but clean, safe, and paid for through the end of the year. No more eviction notices taped to their door. "You look beautiful," Grandma May said from the doorway, her recovery progressing steadily. The procedure had been successful, her heart stronger each day. "It's just middle school graduation," Zira shrugged. "Not just any graduate," her grandmother corrected, holding up the morning newspaper. The headline read, "Young Innovator Accepts Full Scholarship to National Science Academy." The scholarship had come with options. Several prestigious academies had offered Zira positions following the Hargrove scandal. She'd chosen the one with the strongest ethics program and the most diverse student body. "You ready?" Grandma May asked, now working part-time as a patient advocate at the hospital, helping others navigate the healthcare system she once feared. "Almost," Zira replied, gently placing Haley into her bag. The device had evolved, its capabilities expanded. No longer just a personal project, it was now the cornerstone of a healthcare oversight initiative developed in partnership with Dr. Wright. The doorbell rang. Ms. Diallo waited outside, elegant in a traditional West African dress. "Your chariot awaits," she smiled, gesturing to the car where Amara Jones sat behind the wheel. The drive to Jefferson Public Library took them past familiar streets transformed by spring and circumstance. The corner store, where Mr. Chen had extended credit, now displayed a community-supported business banner, part of an economic initiative born from the healthcare algorithm exposure. "Nervous about your presentation?" Ms. Diallo asked. "A little," Zira admitted. After graduation, before leaving for the academy, she would teach her first coding class at the library, a program for younger kids from her neighborhood, funded by the settlement from Hargrove Technologies. The company itself had undergone dramatic restructuring. Victor Hargrove had been forced to step down as CEO following shareholder pressure. Dr. Eliana Wright now led a reformed executive team committed to ethical AI development. Hargrove's healthcare algorithm had been completely rebuilt, with transparent decision metrics and community oversight. Thousands of previously denied procedures had been reviewed and approved. Not perfect justice, but progress. At the library, a small crowd waited, children with bright eyes and parents with hopeful expressions. The same families who had watched Zira grow up among the bookshelves now came to see her teach. "Look at all these kids," Amara whispered, camera ready to document the moment for her ongoing series on algorithmic justice. Her reporting had earned national recognition, bringing much-needed attention to digital discrimination. Zira surveyed the makeshift classroom, laptops donated by tech companies eager to rebuild their reputations, curriculum developed with Ms. Diallo, who now directed the library's expanded STEM program. "Welcome to Code Your Future," Zira began, confidence growing with each word. "Today, we'll learn how machines think and how to make sure they think fairly." Little hands raised immediately, questions bubbling forth. Zira answered each one patiently, remembering her own curiosity, her own hunger to learn. During a break, she stepped outside for air. Spring sunshine warmed her face as she considered the journey ahead, the academy, new challenges, a future once unimaginable. Her phone buzzed with a text from Dr. Wright. "Haley's healthcare monitoring system approved for national pilot program. You've changed the game." Change. That's what this had all been about. Not revenge against Hargrove, but transformation of the systems that had protected him while dismissing her. Back inside, the children waited, computers open to their first coding exercises. They looked at her with trust and admiration, the local girl who had taken on a tech giant and won. But victory wasn't in Hargrove's downfall. It was here, in this room, in the possibilities unfolding for these children who would no longer have to fight so hard to be seen. And as she looked at the eager faces surrounding her, Zira smiled, knowing that the real power wasn't in the code itself, but in who got to write it. Genius isn't determined by zip code or circumstance, but by opportunity and recognition. When we overlook talent based on appearance or background, we don't just hurt individuals. We rob society of the innovations it desperately needs. If Zira's journey moved you, hit that subscribe button and like this video to see more beat stories that challenge the powerful and celebrate unsung brilliance. Your support helps these vital stories reach those who need them most.
Every time someone stands up, speaks out, or refuses to be erased, a new story is born. At Beat Stories, we archive that courage. Subscribe now and help us keep these moments alive, because the more we share them, the harder they are to ignore.